guest is a Chicago South Sider who was raised in Englewood. She has a BA from Columbia College and does it all as a speaker, mentor, coach, runway and print model, president and CEO of The Message Incorporated, and the current Ms. Worldwide Illinois Ambassador for the Live Out Loud charity. She has been featured in books, magazines, The Tribune, Crane's Chicago Business, in Christian music, and as a guest on both radio and television. She is the author of Love's Great Design and is a columnist for both Fabulous and Money Savvy and She Can magazine. She's the co-host of Do Not Submit, Englewood, and has read At Homewood Stories, Is This a Thing, Loose Chicks, Misspoken, The French Room, This Much Is True, and Story Club Southside. And now, she adds Tuesday Funk to the list. Please welcome Angel Simmons.
Hi. My friends call me Wonder Woman because I save the world most days. But 9 years ago, I took a job that almost killed me, literally. And the following sequence of events should have been my warning. I had just started that job 3 weeks ago. I thought it was going to change my life. Everything was still new and fresh and bright and shiny. This was my first job with my own office. Now, granted, the walls didn't quite reach the ceiling, but it was still my own office. And we could pretty much yell over that wall and talk to each other without having to get up, but it was still my own office. It was April 11, 2007, the last morning that spring that I remember it snowing. The streets were wet and slushy. The sun was just peeking out around 6:30 that morning. I had on my long black wool coat with the fur around the hood. You know, that fur that never quite looks the same after it gets clean. So you end up brushing the thing like it's a pet. Anyway, I had on the coat and my purse strapped across my body because I was riding the CTA on 79th Street, and my work bag on my shoulder that I could never seem to leave home without, and my lunch bag in my hand. I still can't remember what was in the bag, but I remember really looking forward to eating it later. I was crossing the street in the crosswalk, had the right of way, but the light changed. So I picked up my pace to a light jog, trying not to slide or get any slush on my nice wool coat. All the other cars waited. I was about 2 yards away from the curb. I never saw the truck coming. Now, in the movies, the scenario ends one of two ways. A, the truck comes to a screeching halt just close enough to the pedestrian that the pedestrian braces themselves on the hood of the truck. Then either one of both parties yells out some loud obscenity at the other. The truck speeds off. The pedestrian walks away, frowning and shaking their head. Or B, the truck doesn't stop in time. The pedestrian gets hit. Onlookers in the crowd call 911. Police take statements from witnesses and give the driver a ticket. The ambulance arrives, and off to the hospital goes the pedestrian. Which one do you think happened? Allow me to offer you a more dramatic third option. I remember screaming as the truck made contact with my side. I remember the weight of my body dropping to the pavement. I had been thrown up in the air and several feet away from the crosswalk. Somewhere in that short moment of time, I saw my life. Just a few past memories, but mainly things that were yet to come, moments I would experience and enjoy, people I would meet, lives I would change because I saved the world most days. I was even a smaller size. Then I remember the throbbing sensation from the leg I had landed on. As I came back to the present, I saw my things scattered about in the street. Work bag over there, lunch bag over there, glove, and the slush. I rolled over to see the driver still in the truck. And I'm almost certain that he was on his cell phone. Even in my frazzled state, even through the throbbing pain, and while laying there in the wet intersection of a major street in my nice wool coat, the spirit inside of me urged me to pull out my phone and type in his license plate number. I know, I can't believe it either. But when the driver saw me with my phone, he was inspired to get out of his truck. Sadly, I had already picked myself up, gathered my belongings, and limped over to the curb by the time he walked over to me. He asked me if I was okay. Ironically, just as some guy driving a van rode past us yelling out of his window, "Lady, you need to go to the hospital," and sped off. Then the driver proceeded to tell me, 1, he was in a hurry, 2, had forgotten to grab his ID, and 3, asked if I was headed downtown and needed a ride. All I could do was shake my head. He asked for my name and number and gave me his to put in my phone, and then he left me. How's that for compassion? I stood there on the corner in the cold, raining snow, going over this new option C that had just presented itself. I didn't hear any sirens coming my way. I wondered if any of those onlookers had even called the police. Reality began to set in that I had taken a job working in the hood, and they may never come. I contemplated calling them myself, but I was standing alone on the corner in the cold, rainy snow, and I saw my bus pulling up. Wait for the police? Cross the street to get on the bus? I weighed my options very carefully. I decided I'd call the police when I got to work, which was a block from where I get off the bus. I hobbled up those stairs, dragging my leg behind me, noticing the impatience in the bus driver's eyes as the doors closed quickly behind me. When I got to my stop and the bus pulled off, my coworker spotted me just as she was about to turn the corner. She beckoned for me to hop in the car, then stared blankly with her mouth open, watching me limp over. I rehashed the details of my adventurous journey to work. She laughed her ass off, thinking I was just over-exaggerating the story, until the police finally arrived to take my report. 5 minutes later, the officer had the driver's home address, handed me the report, and walked out of the door. My leg had since swollen up twice its size. I made a call to my boss and my family, gave them a quick recap of my accident. Then my no longer laughing but now very concerned coworker drove me to Providence Hospital. The ambulance never came. Side note, Providence is the equivalent of Cook County for the South Side. My medical insurance hadn't kicked in yet because I told you I had just started this job 3 weeks ago. I thought it was going to change my life. Well, I had recently started my dance company, but I wouldn't be able to dance again for a few years. My gorgeous hair started falling out from what the dermatologist said was post-traumatic stress after the accident. Eventually, I went natural. The after-work nap was introduced into my daily schedule because I was in so much pain by the time I got home, and I didn't want to keep popping pills. Even after physical therapy, I still found myself walking a little crooked and deliberately slowed down the stairs and off curves. And every single time I got ready to cross any street, I had to fight the urge to run like hell to the other side. My life did indeed change. I never saw the truck coming. The driver denied for almost 2 years ever hitting me. Before finally settling out of court right before the time was up, I had to take what I got that little money I got was all spent 3 months later, every last penny. The job soon lost its new and fresh and bright and shiny. As a matter of fact, I would sit in my office most days fantasizing about the day I'd hand in my resignation letter, grinning ear to ear. I finally did that last year. Thanks to the truck and his driver, I saw enough of my future to know what was waiting for me. My accomplishments, special moments, my future marriage, our family, and I remember all of those moments and memories vividly and in great detail. But what I'd most like to remember from that day is what I had in the bag for lunch. Because I was really looking forward to eating it later.